The following is a release from the People's National Party Media Unit.
The People's National Party has taken note of the gratuitous comments and public recitation of constitutional provisions by the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, the Honorable Marlene Malahoo Forte, MP, regarding the timing of the next general election. At a time when the Jamaican people are experiencing immense hardship, with 58% saying the country is headed in the wrong direction, 66% believing corruption has increased over the last 5 years, and over 48% citing crime and violence as the country's biggest problem, the minister's intervention appears designed to inject uncertainty and confusion. It reeks of desperation and appears to test the patience of a people who are already demanding meaningful change. The Jamaican people expect to go to the polls by September 2025 to elect a new government. That expectation is not merely political, it is constitutional. It must not be frustrated. The public is already engaged, with nearly 42% of Jamaicans saying they definitely intend to vote, and another 11% saying they are quite likely to vote when elections are called. The PNP reiterates that under Jamaica's constitution, if the Prime Minister does not advise the Governor-General to dissolve Parliament, it will do so automatically upon the completion of its term. Once Parliament is dissolved, a general election must be held within 3 months. Jamaica is not at war, and there are no conditions currently present that would permit a lawful extension or deviation from this timeline. We caution the JLP administration against abusing or misinterpreting any constitutional provisions for which the objective requirements do not exist. This government's track record of constitutional recklessness is well documented, from pre-signed Senate resignation letters to the appointment of an acting Chief Justice in breach of convention to the NIDS legislation which was struck down by the Constitutional Court. Jamaica's constitutional democracy is strong and resilient, but it must not be undermined by an administration attempting to extend its time in power by dubious means. It must be noted that while Jamaicans are steadfast and committed to democratic norms, the minister's comments are dangerously provocative and entirely unnecessary. Both political parties are already in campaign mode, and the people rightly expect an election by September 2025. If the minister's statement was merely an attempt to test public reaction or distract from the mounting failures of governance, let it be known the PNP will not be distracted, nor will we back down from our duty to stand with the people. I am therefore calling on the Prime Minister to urgently clarify the purpose of the minister's comments and to reassure the nation that there will be no attempt to delay the election or interfere with the constitutional timeline. Now, more than ever, the country needs leadership, not evasion, distraction, or constitutional mischief.
This is Nikisha Burchell, the PNP's MP caretaker for South St. James. You see, once again, we've heard the grand speeches, this time at the Montpelier Agricultural Show on Easter Monday, where the Minister of Agriculture, Floyd Green, announced that the government will spend $600 billion to revitalize the Montpelier Agricultural Research Station. Now, on paper, that sounds impressive, but so did last year's promise to plant 3,000 acres of ackee, breadfruit and mango in South St. James. And based on our checks, not one of those trees have been planted. Not one. Every year, we're used as props for press releases and pretty speeches. Tired promises, empty gestures. But let me be clear, South St. James deserves investment, not a minister's imagination. Agriculture is not just about a talking point for ministers to score points. It is the backbone of survival and opportunity in rural Jamaica. Our farmers break their backs every single day to feed the country, to sustain their communities, and to build a better future. But how can we grow when the government doesn't take our work seriously. The mood I saw at the agricultural show this year wasn't hope. When they listened to the minister, it was more a matter of frustration. People weren't moved. They were insulted. And our farmers know when they are being played for votes, and they're tired of it. Let's be honest. $600 billion with no timeline, no clear plan, and no community consultation. That's not a strategy. That's a stage line. It sounded like something the minister made up to impress a crowd, but we don't need theater. We need a serious, grounded plan for our agriculture. Meanwhile, the real needs are being ignored. Where's the irrigation support? Where's the land prep assistance? Where are the farm roads? Where are the processing facilities and the access to proper markets? We still have farmers in South St. James who lost everything during Hurricane Beryl. And to this day, they haven't received so much as a bag of fertilizer to help them bounce back. That's not just a failure of policy. That's a failure of leadership. So I'm saying to Minister Floyd Green, get realistic, sir. Leave the office. Come to South St. James. Talk to the farmers, because who feels it knows it. We support the restoration of the Montpelier station, yes, of course, but only if it's done right, with local input, with urgency, and with real, measurable benefits for our farmers. Don't come with the headlines and the hollow words. Come with action. Come with respect. Come with a plan that shows you truly value our farmers, because it's time we get serious about agriculture, because agriculture won't grow on promises.
This is Natalie Nita Garby, Opposition Post spokesperson on local government, addressing a matter of national importance. Yesterday at 6:30 p.m., Jamaica was placed under tsunami alert. This alert lasted for about an hour and 10 minutes before it was lifted. But let me be clear. During those 70 minutes, the people of Jamaica heard absolutely nothing from their government or from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, the ODPEM, the very agency responsible for keeping us informed and safe. Had a tsunami actually occurred, the consequences would have been catastrophic. Why? There was no bulletin issued to warn the population. No instructions were given on how to respond to such an event. Nothing, save for a release over 3 hours later, which informed us as an advisory, but denied that there was even a warning. This is not just a failure, it is a gross dereliction of duty. The Ministry of Local Government and the ODPEM have acted in an extremely irresponsible manner, leaving our nation vulnerable and in the dark during a potential crisis. I'm calling for an urgent review of Jamaica's disaster alert and warning systems. We must ensure that these systems are fully functional, supported by adequate response mechanisms, expertise, and funding. What happened last night was nothing short of scary. It is unacceptable, and the minister, as the accountable officer, must immediately provide the nation with a credible explanation. Jamaica deserves better. Our people deserve transparency, preparedness, and leadership, especially in times of crisis.
Today, Jamaica's healthcare system faces an unprecedented crisis, as government medical consultants have taken the difficult decision to withdraw their services in protest of the continued failure to pay their retroactive salaries under the new compensation review for the public sector. This island-wide sickness has disrupted operations at clinics and hospitals, leaving patients in limbo and further exposing the fragility of our healthcare system. It is deeply troubling that while the government swiftly approved and paid themselves salary increases, including retroactive payments or medical consultants, the very professionals tasked with saving lives, are left waiting for what they are rightfully owed. This glaring inequality is not just an insult to our healthcare workers, but a betrayal of the Jamaican people who depend on them for care. Medical consultants are the cornerstone of our healthcare system. Their expertise, dedication, and leadership are vital to the delivery of quality care. Yet, they are forced to take this drastic action because the government has failed to honor its commitment to them for over 3 years. This is not just about money, it is about respect, fairness, and the value we place on those who dedicate their lives to serving others. The government's inaction sends a clear message that the health and well-being of the nation are not a priority. While politicians did not hesitate to ensure their own financial security, they have left our healthcare workers and by extension, the Jamaican people to suffer the consequences of their neglect and selfishness. We call on the government to immediately address this injustice. Pay our medical consultants. We call on the government to immediately address this injustice. Pay our medical consultants what they are owed. Show the same urgency and commitment to them as you did to yourselves. The time for excuses is over.
At the
The health of our nation
I came
depends on it.
and I made myself available. I presented myself at an event, which was really a grand PR effort. Again, another PR effort by this group. But what took place today? A ribbon cutting for a section of the Cornwall Regional Hospital, an administrative section, a fraction of the Cornwall Regional Hospital. And the minister in his address would like us, so to the mayor, would like us to believe that this is a big day. A big day after 8 years of this hospital under renovation, 8 years of billions of dollars being spent. But then again, the minister wanted us to believe that it's not a cost overrun. It is actually a rescoping. And because, in his words, it's a rescoping, that there's no reason for there to be any concern because it's money well spent. Well, I'm here to tell you, as a citizen of this parish, as a resident of this constituency, that's not a simple thing. This is reason for us to be concerned. Because for the last 8 years, people of Western Jamaica have not had answers. We have taken this long to open an administrative section, a fraction of the hospital. Is that acceptable? I think not. So let us not glorify and make it seem like it is bigger than it really is. Some work was done, but not because still, I don't want to have to come to a hospital here. Because while the doctors, nurses, and other support staff have been given themselves, best of themselves, under trying circumstances, they have been asked to operate under less than desirable circumstances for the last 8 years. And when we form government, when the People's National Party forms the government, we are going to have a forensic audit of this entire thing. Because $20-odd billion later, and we still don't have a hospital. Another PRing over the people, prioritizing PR over people. And today we are saying it is time we prioritize people over PR. Today, I came here because I needed to see for myself. I did not want to be told what was happening here. I came and saw for myself that this is another attempt by the government to gloss over the realities of what we are faced with every day as citizens of this country, as citizens of Western Jamaica. It's not acceptable, it's not sufficient, and we are not here to just accept that it should be what it is. Cornwall Regional should be further along, and according to the minister, the only reason that Cornwall Regional is not finished is because of COVID. That had it not been for COVID, it would have been finished. Again, we don't accept it. We do not accept it.
This is Dr. Alfred Dawes, Opposition spokesperson on health and wellness. I want to raise some very troubling questions this morning about how taxpayers' money is being spent in our health sector. We have recently learned that the Southeast Regional Health Authority, SARA, has purchased a single surgical drill for the Bustamante Hospital for Children at the staggering cost of $31,467,708, which includes 2 years of maintenance. To put this in perspective, the recent refurbishment of 4 operating theaters at the Kingston Public Hospital, KPH, including essential mold treatment and critical repairs, cost only $24 million. How can the government justify paying more for one piece of surgical equipment than it costs to refurbish 4 entire operating theaters in the largest hospital in the island? Something is rotten in the state of Jamaica. Industry sources have informed us reliably that the same drill with identical specifications can be sourced on the open market for just $5 million. There is no reasonable explanation for this massive price difference, especially when our health system is under extreme strain and operating theaters across the country are sitting unused. Let's be clear, no maintenance package, no additional equipment can justify such an astronomical price tag. The opposition is therefore asking the Ministry of Health and SARA to provide the following information to the public. A full explanation of the procurement process that led to this exorbitant purchase. Whether any additional drills have since been procured and at what price, and if the same company was used. At a time when operating theaters remain out of service at key hospitals, including the Seoul Theatre, the Anata Bay Hospital, and 2 out of 4 theaters at the St. Anne's Bay Hospital, the Jamaican people deserve transparency and accountability. The taxpayers of Jamaica have not received value for their money. The country deserves answers, and the Ministry of Health must provide them.